Welcome to my video on writing linear equations when given a point and slope or 2 points. Now let's get started. We are going to do 4 examples together. In example number 1, it says to write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form whose slope is 3/4 and passes through the point -4, 1. Because the information given to us is the slope and a point, we are first going to have to plug these two numbers in to our point-slope formula. I will write the point-slope formula so that you can see it on this page. It is y minus y1 equals m, which is the slope, times x minus x1. Now, remember, in this problem, the point -4, 1, the -4 represents the x1 and the 1 represents the y1. So all we have to do at this point is plug the numbers in. So here we go. I have y minus 1. Now remember, minus is part of the formula, and so I'll show you when we get to the x's. Let's just continue. So our m is our slope, and that's 3/4 times x minus x1. Now since minus x1, we have to say minus -4. But remember, when you subtract a negative, it's the same as adding. So we're going to simplify it and just show it that way. Now that we've written it in point-slope form, we are ready to solve this equation for y. And it's very simple to do. So let's get started on that. I'm not doing anything at first with the y minus 1 because I'm going to do the distribution of 3/4 times x and 3/4 times 4. So 3/4 times x would be 3/4 x, and 3/4 times 4 is 12/4. And 12 divided by 4 is 3, so I'm going to write plus 3. Now we will add 1 to both sides. Bring the y down, and now I have y equals 3/4 x plus 4. So we have just written the equation of this line in slope-intercept form. Now let's move on to example number 2. Write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form whose slope is parallel to 3/4 and passes through the point 2, 3. In this example, we have to have an understanding of parallel, a slope that is parallel. Now remember, two parallel lines, they go in the same direction and they will never intersect, they will never touch each other. Therefore, a slope that is parallel to 3/4 would simply be 3/4. So basically, we follow the same steps as we did in example 1. We will start out by substituting the point 2, 3 for our x1 and y1, and we will substitute 3/4 for the slope. So here we go. Y minus y1, which would be y minus 3, is equal to 3/4 times x minus 2. Since we're doing our distribution first, I will bring down the y minus 3, and 3/4 times x is 3/4 x. 3/4 times -2, well, 3 times -2 is -6, and so we have -6/4. Now, I want to go ahead and simplify -6/4 into -3/2. So I'm going to rewrite that. Y minus 3 equals 3/4 x minus 3/2. Now I will add 3 to both sides, and that will give me y equals 3/4 x plus 3/2. Now we have our line in slope-intercept form. Now, if you are not very good with working with fractions and whole numbers, you can use your calculator to help you with this step right here. Okay? Now, let's move on to example number 3. Number 3 states, write an equation of a line in point-slope form whose slope is -3 and passes through the point 2, -3. Now, just like in the other examples, we will start out by using our point-slope form. The good news here is since that's the form it wants us to write it in, this problem is going to be really easy and really quick. So let's get started on it. Remember, the point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And so in this example, the 2 in the ordered pair in the point is x1 and the -3 is y1. So we're going to begin our substitution. Y minus -3, well remember, subtracting a negative is the same as adding. So y plus 3 is equal to, here's my slope I just forgot, -3 times x minus 2. Since I will be doing the distribution first of -3 times x minus 2, I will simply bring down the y plus 3. Okay, and that is equal to -3 times x, which is -3x, and then -3 times -2 is +6, so +6. So there you go. We have just written this equation in point-slope form of a line that passes through the slope -3 and has the point 2, -3. Now let's move on to our fourth and final example. Write an equation of a line in point-slope form whose slope is perpendicular to -3 and passes through the point 0, 3. Now in this example, we have to have an understanding of what a perpendicular slope is. So a perpendicular slope is the negative reciprocal of the original slope. All that means is you take the original slope, you're going to flip the fraction and change the sign. So with our slope, our original slope of -3, now remember, every slope that's a whole number has the invisible denominator of 1. So all you would do is you would flip that fraction and change the sign. So it went from being a negative fraction to a positive fraction. So this is going to be our perpendicular slope. Now that we know what our new slope is going to be, we're ready to plug in these numbers into the point-slope form of the equation. And here again, they're asking for our final answer to be point-slope form. So again, this one's going to go rather quickly. We start out with y minus 3 is equal to, and we're going to put in our perpendicular slope, 1/3 times x minus 0. You could leave it this way, but since we know that x minus 0 is x, we could simplify it just a little more and write y minus 3 is equal to 1/3 x. I know at the beginning of this video I said we were going to do 4 examples together, but I forgot about a 5th one. So let's go on to example number 5, and I promise this is the last one. Now in this example, it is asking us or telling us to write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form that passes through the points 1, 6 and -2, 3. This example is different than the others because in this example we are given 2 points instead of 1 point and the slope. Whenever you are given 2 points in a line, it is very easy to find the slope. If you remember the formula for slope, it is slope equals, or m equals, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, where x1 and y1 are the coordinates of the first point and x2 and y2 are the coordinates of the second point. So now let's do our substitution. My second y is 3, and that is minus my first y, which is 6. We will be dividing that by our second x, which is negative 2, and then we will subtract our first x, which is 1. Now remember, when you're using the formula to find slope, that the formula states that you're going to subtract y1 and that you're going to subtract x1. So if either one of those terms is a negative number, remember, then you would be subtracting a negative, which is simply adding. Now let's simplify this. We have 3 minus 6, which is negative 3, and we have negative 2 minus 1, which is negative 3. It can be simplified a little more. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is a positive 1. So our slope for this equation is going to be 1. Now that we know the point and a slope, we are going to treat this example for the rest of the way just like we did in example number 1. We are going to substitute our values in the point-slope form and then simplify it to the slope-intercept form. So let's begin. I am going to use the first ordered pair 1, 6. So we have y minus 6 is equal to 1 times x minus 1. Y minus 6 equals 1 times x is x, 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. I have one more step and then we're done. Add 6 to both sides and I end up with y equals x, and negative 1 plus 6 is 5, so x plus 5. So here you go. We've now answered our 5th example. I hope this video has helped you, and I look forward to working with you again. Bye-bye.